conversation about the riots, the revelations, and the plan to prevent the next assault on democracy. Now, live from the Capitol, this is January 6th, 1 year later.
Good evening from the U.S. Capitol and welcome to National Statuary Hall. Under siege 1 year ago from insurrectionists, today it is a room of reunion for those who defended democracy then and are still trying to defend it today. I'm Dick Tapper.
I'm Anderson Cooper. We are coming to you from historic grounds. This is where rioters tried to overthrow an election. This is also used to be the site of the House of Representatives and the scene of another violent attack. In 1814, the British burned this very room and the rest of the Capitol down, and it was Americans who rebuilt it. From the early to mid-1800s, laws were made in this room.
In fact, you can see a marker on the floor where Abraham Lincoln's desk was while he worked as a member of the House, about a decade before becoming elected president. Now Statuary Hall is a showcase for famous figures in American history, such as civil rights pioneer Rosa Parks, or the inventor of the light bulb and the movie camera, Thomas Alva Edison. Just down the hall is the famous Capitol Rotunda, which sits under the Capitol Dome, where the nation's most important leaders are honored, including a presidential inauguration and state funerals. At the other end is the entrance to the House chamber, where a year ago lawmakers were trapped as rioters tried to force their way in.
On this January 6th anniversary, lawmakers, their staff, and police who risked their lives are coming together to speak out on the continued threats that we face as a nation. A couple of our guests are returning to the Capitol for the first time since the attack. We're all vaccinated and boosted, in the last 24 hours tested negative for coronavirus. In a moment, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will be here, but first a look at what we've learned from January 6th, 1 year later. Since the insurrection 1 year ago, we've learned more about those who attacked the Capitol.
The cops are getting sprayed. There's a fight right here.
They included conspiracy theorists, white nationalists, and extremists who were armed with weapons and tactical gear. Nearly all of them Trump supporters.
What are you going to do?
Whatever we have to do. What do you think 1776 was?
For the past year, they've been investigated by the FBI, with more than 700 arrested and charged with federal crimes, from disorderly conduct to assault with a deadly weapon. But was the assault planned, and if so, by whom? And how much did then President Trump and his inner circle know about it?
All hell is going to break loose tomorrow.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building. Let's have trial by combat. We're going to walk down and I'll be there with you.
Congress has since created a select committee in the House to investigate the origins of the attack. They've been stonewalled by the former president and his associates.
If you act deliberately with sneering, cavalier contempt for the American people and their representatives, we will hold you in contempt.
But the committee continues its work, revealing this week evidence the former president refused to stop the violence as it unfolded.
The only thing I can say is highly unusual for anyone in charge of anything to watch what's going on and do nothing.
I think that there are a number of potential criminal statutes at issue here.
One of the biggest questions is what would have happened if attackers found the lawmakers upholding the election, like then Vice President Mike Pence, who defied the former president by going to the Capitol to certify the results. Or House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, whose office was targeted by the mob. This video shows what it was like for congressional staffers as they hid inside a room in Speaker Pelosi's office. The rioters tried to break down the door. Her staff hid for more than 2 hours. The as the attackers ransacked her office.
I left her a note on her desk. It says, Nancy Big O is here, you
The anger of the mob on January 6 hasn't gone away. The former president, emboldened and enabled by supporters in his party, continues to deny the election results. There are fears this could lead to another politically motivated attack on the Capitol or beyond. Out on the continued threats that we face as a nation. A couple of our guests are returning to the Capitol for the first time since the attack. We're all vaccinated and boosted in the last 24 hours, tested negative for coronavirus. Our guests are returning to the Capitol for the first time since the attack. We're all vaccinated and boosted in the last 24 hours, tested negative for coronavirus. In a moment, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will be here, but first a look at what we've learned from January 6th.